everyone. This is Dr. Nishana Jumuddin, Senior Faculty Economy at Ecom IAS Academy. In today's session, we'll be discussing about the most important highlights of Union Budget 2025-26. This is a topic not only important for the prelims and mains examination, but also very important for all those who are appearing for the UPSC CSE interview. Let's have a quick look into what are the highlights of the current budget. We all know that our country, India, aims to become the third largest economy in the entire globe very soon. And we also want to become a Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. And the current budget also has made so many announcements which is helping a country to grow as expected. Having said that, if you see in the so-called 2025-26 Union Budget, multiple sectors have been given more importance. The government made it very clear that they're exclusively focusing and promoting the key or the most important sectors like power, like urban development, export sectors. At the same time, a lot of reforms, a lot of initiatives has been brought with regard to the taxation sector as a whole. Let's have a quick look into all these in detail. The government made it very clear that it is not just development, but rather sustainable and inclusive development, which is the need of the hour. Only then by 2047, we'll be able to attain or become a Viksit Bharat as what is predicted by the government as well. Now, if you see, they believe that focusing on the most important sectors like agriculture, MSME, exports and investments, our country, India, will be able to grow as we expected. Now, previously, if you see, the growth rate was expected to be more than 7%. But currently, if you see in the yesterday's economic survey, it is very clearly stated that India expects to grow at the rate of 6.3 to 6.8% because of the fact that we have witnessed certain slowdown in the 2 quarters of our development. Now, in this particular budget, we also came to know that so many benefits have been given to various sectors as a whole. If you see, the current budget focuses on Garib, Youth, Annadana and Nari, which is women as well. So now with regard to agriculture, because we all know that even today, majority of our country's population depends upon which sector? Primary sector of our economy. So promoting the primary or the agriculture sector is indeed the need of the hour. Only then the contribution towards our country's GDP from this particular sector can also be increased. If you see, a scheme called as Pradhan Mantri Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana has been introduced, and now this is basically for developing the agri-district program. More than 100 districts has been covered under this particular program with the sole intention of helping more than 1 crore farmers, approximately 1.7 crore farmers. It is a very good initiative because this is what we require now. We have so many other schemes and policies that have been there to uplift the agrarian sector, but then in spite of that, lot more improvement is required. That is why Pradhan Mantri Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana for developing the agri districts was exclusively brought in the current 2025-26 budget. At the same time, the KCC, Kisan Credit Card Scheme, which we already have, the government said that there will be enhanced credit through the KCC, that is Kisan Credit Card. How? If you see, through this, they will facilitate short-term loans for the farmers, and that too for more than 7 crore farmers, approximately 7.7 crore farmers, and that too with an enhanced or increased loan of rupees 5 lakh. That is another important highlight of our union budget. Apart from that, with regard to cotton productivity, we all know that cotton crop contributes great with regard to employment, with regard to production, with regard to export perspective as well. So now the government also said there will be a mission for the cotton productivity, and that too 5-year mission. Why? In order to facilitate so many improvements in the productivity of cotton and making sure that the cotton farming is also enhanced. At the same time, for improving the rural economy, India posed as a catalyst as well. If you see, the rural community hub for co-locations, the credit services to micro enterprises, all these are also included in the current Union Budget of 2025. Apart from that, with regard to MSME, a great relief has been given to all the people who are put up in the micro, small, medium enterprises. The government has a sole intention of supporting all the MSME sectors by even issuing credit cards to those who have registered themselves through the Udayam portal. And if you can see that around 10 lakh such credit cards will be given as per the budget declaration. And also the limit will be rupees 5 lakhs, which is indeed a good thing. So now in the budget, more focus and more support has been extended to the MSME sectors, because that is a way of promoting or increasing the entrepreneurial culture in our country, India. Because we all know that the MSMEs contribute more than 30%, approximately 35 to 40% to the country's export, and it contributes 35% to the manufacturing sector as a whole. So promoting and uplifting the MSME sector is indeed the need of the hour. That is why this is brought in. At the same time, if you see, the government has also introduced a scheme for first-time entrepreneurs. That too, for the 5 lakh first-time entrepreneurs, which includes women, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, a new scheme is being brought in, through which a loan of up to 2 crore during the next 5 years will also be provided. This is again to uplift the vulnerable sections of the society. And now, lot of other various schemes with regard to labor-intensive sectors, with regard to manufacturing sectors, so that the job, employment, all these things can also be increased, is also focused on the current budget. Apart from that, the most interesting part in the current budget deals with taxation. We all know that compared to the previous taxation systems that was there in our country, India, a kind of tax terrorism is what the people of our country, India, was facing, because majority of the middle class income people were highly affected due to this. So keeping in mind that in the current 2025-26 budget, the government has very clearly made a statement that a person who is earning up to 12 lakh per year will be exempted from paying tax, which means 0%. And that too under the new tax regime system. There is something called as old tax regime system and new tax regime system. Under the new tax regime system only, if a person is coming under that, then and if his or her income is up to 12 lakh per year, then they are exempted from paying a tax. This is considered as a more welcoming move by the people, because India's majority of population is put up in the middle class income category as well. Escaping from paying a tax is one thing that was lingering in the minds of people, and this move by the government has given a lot of benefits for those people. But at the same time, the condition here is that if they come under the new tax regime, only then this provision is applicable. And if you come under the old tax regime, then again, as per the income tax slabs, you have to end up paying taxes. And now if you see, previously up to 3 lakh per annum, there was no tax. But then the government has increased the limit to 4 lakh under the old tax regime, where up to 4 lakhs now you need not end up paying a tax. So these are few of the important reforms, or let's say the initiatives that was brought with regard to the taxation system as a whole. And this is indeed welcoming, but at the same time we have to wait and see whether this is really benefiting the middle class income category people to a greater extent. Now, apart from that, so many other important highlights of the current budget is that lot of tax exemption to the most important medicines, especially the medicines that was costing too high, that has been again taken away. The basic customs duty for those medicines have been again exempted. So these are again some of the important points to be highlighted in the union budget of 2025-26. And if you see, there has been expansion of capacity in all the IITs, and now the government also gives more focus and more importance in developing the artificial intelligence or technologies, keeping in mind the upcoming generations, or the upcoming development that we have to see among the younger generations as well. So more amount of money is being allocated for the development of that also. And if you see, the government also announced that there will be 50,000 labs, auto linkering labs, to be set up in the government schools in the next 5 years, in order to make sure that they're making improvement in the educational sector as a whole. And if you see, apart from that, the daycare cancer centers, that too in all district hospitals, was also announced in the 2025-26 budget. As I told you, artificial intelligence, they has been taking a huge toll these days. So now the government has been spending a total outlay or expenditure of rupees 500 crore, and they've decided to construct the Center for Excellence in Artificial Intelligence, or AI, for education. Apart from that, they also made sure that broadband connectivity, because usage of technologies also requires better internet connectivity across every part of India. It is not only urban India but also rural India. So in the current budget, the government also announced broadband connectivity, and that will be provided to all the government schools, that to government secondary schools and also to the PHC, primary healthcare centers in all the rural areas. They were making sure that we are developing in a very inclusive manner. That is also one of the important highlights of the 2025-26 Union Budget. And another important highlight is that with regard to the expansion of the medical education. If you see, 10,000 additional seats with the goal of adding 75,000 seats in the next 5 years was also announced in the 2025 budget. And now with regard to Pradhan Mantri Samriddhi Yojana program which we had, the government has also announced they'll be revamping this particular program so that more number of loans will be available to people. And now all the UPI linked credit cards and capacity building support will also be provided by revamping the Pradhan Mantri Samriddhi program. And last but not the least, a welfare of online platform for the workers, that is registrations on the eShram portal and other healthcare under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana will also be provided. So these are the major highlights that has been put forward by the government in the 2025-26 Union Budget. Apart from this also, if you see, so many other initiatives have been brought by them. Stating that they want to give more importance to export-oriented schemes, they want to give more importance to the food processing industry, they also give more focus and importance to certain states, especially for example, the state of Bihar was allocated more funds as well, but doesn't mean that other states were ignored, but then a special attention or a special focus was given on the development of the state of Bihar as well. With regard to infrastructure as well, multiple announcements have been made in the current budget. If you see, the support to the states for infrastructure has also been announced. If you see, with an expenditure or an outlay of rupees 1.5 lakh crore, 50-year interest-free loans for the states for capital expenditures and incentive for reforms will also be given by the central government. This is also another important announcement made in the current budget, which is indeed a good thing, right? At the same time, with regard to Jal Jeevan Mission, if you see, to achieve 100% coverage by the year 2028, the government said that they will also have an increased enhancement in the total expenditure for this particular mission so as to achieve the objective. Now, with regard to power sector as well, a lot of focus was given on the current budget. A lot of power sector reforms is also brought in. If you see, they will incentivize distribution reforms and also the augmentation of intra-state transmission as well. With regard to tourism, a lot of focus has been given in the current budget as well because tourism generates more revenue. If you see, this tourism, apart from generating revenue, will also generate employment opportunities for the people as well, because we all know that unemployment has been a major issue that is affecting the growth of our country, India, right? So now, top 50 tourist destination sites that will be developed in partnership with the states by the central government. That is one announcement made in the current budget. Apart from that, the government also said that through this tourism, they want to make sure that more or enhanced revenue generation is also happening. So all these are again focusing on the growth and development of our country, India, and also with the aim of becoming the third largest nation very soon. With regard to export sector, a lot of focus has been given in the current budget. As usual, export promotion schemes are very important because that will again generate more revenue in terms of dollars from other countries as well, right? Because export is always important compared to imports. In the current budget, for promoting export promotion mission has also been put up. At the same time, Bharat Trade Net, National Framework for GCC and Warehousing Facility for Air Cargo. All these have also been introduced in the 2025-26 budget. With regard to fiscal deficit, what is fiscal deficit? When the public revenue falls short of public expenditure, right? The only way for the government to finance the deficit is borrowing. So now, which means the borrowing limit or the fiscal deficit of the government has also come down. The government has kept it at 4.4%. But then we think that it is a positive move. Comparing the previous fiscal deficit target, the current deficit target could be less. But then, on a long-term perspective, when we analyze, it is not good for the economy. Even the percentage of 4.4% of fiscal deficit is also still high, I would say, for the fact that it will potentially lead to inflation and also more of debt burden for our country, India, if you analyze from another perspective as well. Anyways, the fiscal deficit has been kept at 4.4%. That is also another important highlight of the current Union Budget 2025-26. And now, having said that, apart from this, the government has tried to make it very clear that It is not just about development, but rather sustainable and inclusive development. So then our country, India, will be able to become a Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. So I hope these key highlights have enabled you to understand where our country is heading in the next coming years in the path of attaining growth and development. Stay tuned for more such videos. Thank you and Jai Hind.